Hello everyone, welcome back to another Total War Warhammer multiplayer battle. This is going to be the Empire versus the Vampire Coast. So for the Empire here, I went with a supremely wide build here. We have a total of 6 swordsmen. On top of that, we also have the Sigmar Sons, and then I believe I have 3 spearmen spread across the back over here. So that is going to be our infantry force. Very, very wide, as you kind of want to do against the Vampire Coast. But for me, I'm not going to be offensive. I got all of these units to try and protect our ranged units, which we have 3 crossbows, and then I also brought 1 silver bullets because I just wanted some armor-piercing handgunners on the field, and then the crossbowmen were to counter potential like handgunners, or really most of the Vampire Coast army is, you know, like a lot of light creatures, except for like the crabs and stuff. So we went heavily invested in range with the 3 crossbows, the silver bullets, and then on top of that we also have 2 great cannons and the hammer of witches. I was expecting to have an artillery battle here, so that's why I went heavy on the cannons to try and destroy their cannons, because I didn't want to charge. I decided, you know what, we're going to play a gunpowder cannon defensively focused Empire build today. And that's what we're doing here. So right now, you can see that my Hammer of the Witches, which does magical damage, is targeting the enemy's Spectre units over here with the Shade Wraith Gunners, because they have typically, well, they have very low hit points for a unit, and they rely on their physical resistance, but again, magical damage goes through physical resistance, so they're very squishy against magical damage, like, you know, the Hammer of the Witches. Meanwhile, the other 2 cannons are going to be targeting the enemy's crab units. They have 2 of the Rotting Promethean gunnery mobs, so these are the crabs with the shotgunners on top. They're okay, but I think I would rather just take the Renowned unit over the normal unit. The Renowned unit, I believe, has regeneration? I believe they have regeneration. But if you want to take one of the Promethean gunnery mobs, then I would take the Renowned unit and then just take like the normal crabs. But we have 2 of those there. We have the Shade Wraith Gunners and then 1 other Death Gunner, as well as some sort Sirens. Then a middle ground of Depth Guard, 3 of them, which is very scary for my army specifically, because we are a bunch of low armored infantry units, and these guys excel at killing that unit, or those types of creatures. So they brought like no artillery at all, which was very surprising. And then we also have a front line of zombie pirate deckhand mobs, and then Count Noctilus, not even on his mount, just on foot, which is still a pretty powerful combatant in melee. Speaking about people on foot, I brought Volkmar the Grim, but I did not take his chariot because it's so expensive, and I really wanted to get a few more extra units on the ground, so I just have him by himself. He has his abilities, the one that buffs up the melee attack. We have the Shield of Faith, which I've already popped to try and counteract the damage being dealt to our swordsmen by these deck gunners who are trying to focus them down, because I'm going to need all the units I can to protect our range units as the battle ensues, so we're going to already pop that. And then I also have his Grand Soulfire, which is the AoE, which buffs your units around him with 90% magic resistance, and also does some magical damage to units around him as well. So we have Volkmar the Grim right there. Our other leadership is going to be in the form of an Amber Wizard who has Flock of Doom and the transformation of Kadan. Again, I'm trying to utilize that more than I used to. And I think that's basically everything. I kind of went back and... Oh, sorry. And then 1 unit of Outriders with grenade launchers. I wanted to bring 1 mobile unit that can strike wherever we need them. The Vampire Coast is known to be pretty slow, so it's kind of safe to bring the Outriders in most cases. And we have a bunch of crossbowmen to counteract their deck gunners? Deck droppers, sorry. Deck droppers are the flyers. So I was pretty safe in picking the Outriders, because if they did bring a bunch of deck droppers, then we can just kind of pull the Outriders, you know, like behind our crossbow line, and just have the crossbow shoot down the deck droppers, like, no problem. If you have enough range, it would have been no issue. But we don't have to worry about deck droppers in this fight. So I think that is the entire army. Let's hit play. So you can see that the enemy is forced to charge us. The only ranged components they have are these deck gunners, which are not going to be able to outrange our 3 cannons. And again, we are trying to shoot down with the Shade Wraith Gunners with our magical damage cannon. Not exactly the ideal target for the Hammer of the Witches, but it's like the best option we have at killing these Shade Wraith Gunners at range. But again, the other 2 cannons are just focusing down the Rotting Promethean gunnery mobs, so they're doing a lot of good damage. Just 1 cannon on that, 1 cannon on the other one, just kind of spreading our damage around. The silver bullets, I believe, are going to be targeting the Depth Guard, this unit right there. I think they already should be firing here. You can see Count Noctilus is going to start trying to charge Volkmar the Grim, which is not what we want at all. So we are already going to try and make sure that he goes, whoop, nope, we're not doing that. Volkmar the Grim, especially on foot, is not a military, he's not a duelist at all. I'm not entirely sure why I decided to charge Count Noctilus here. That's a mistake. We probably shouldn't do that, but I did. Anyway, Volkmar the Grim, not a really good melee combatant in this situation. I think I'm going to be pulling him out somewhat soon. And also you can see that the enemy is now focusing him down with the deck gunners. I'm going to be swinging our grenade launchers. Actually, they're already over there. They are going to be coming out here. And this is actually going to be a mistake. There's the AoE ability from Volkmar. So I'm going to actually pull the grenade launchers out here. And I'm not used, like in my head, I don't have the muscle memory or like any kind of memory to rush Outriders into melee. That's not typically where you want them. So I'm going to let them sit here and just shoot down the deck gunners. Now, the deck gunners are miserable in melee. 5 melee attack, 10 melee defense. Now, Outriders are not great either with only an 18 and 14, but they still do have a charge bonus of 12, which will help a little bit. And I think on the charge, they should, I believe in theory, I haven't tested it, but in theory, I think they should be able to wreck gunners, or wreck deck gunners, even on the charge. But I'm just going to let them sit here, fire instead, which is going to make the life of these be a lot longer than they should be. Even basic Outriders like these, I think, should be able to just kind of rear charge these deck gunners and be totally fine in melee and just crush them instantly. I think. I haven't tested it, but I think. But anyway, I'm going to make the mistake and not do that. I'm just going to shoot our grenades into the deck gunners back there. Alright, let's keep going. You can see that I have pulled back Volkmar the Grim. I don't think I'm going to engage on Count Noctis again anytime soon, because that would be foolish. Meanwhile, the front line is going to be just getting kind of crushed here by the Depth Guard. They have one Depth Guard here, here, and here. Luckily, we had a lot of time to shoot into this Depth Guard, but they are getting some life back now that they are in melee and just kind of killing our swordsmen who have no chance of fighting them. This swordsman is already routing. I believe our Sigmar Sons are right here dealing with some of these summoned zombie pirate deckhand mobs. There's been 2 summons. That's the 3rd summon, I believe, because one summon's there, one here, one here. So this summon is trying to get into our crossbows and our silver bullets, so I'm going to have to pull one of our reserve spearmen over here. We have a reserve spearman in here fighting another summon, and then the 3rd reserve spearman is still in reserve. We have some crossbows being chased out over here. They're going to form up a line here and then go back and form up. Syrenes are now going to disengage from the swordsman here, which is a good call, and they're going to try and get into our crossbowmen. I think I pull Volkmar the Grim because he does do magical damage. I think I pull him in to fight the Syrenes, and I'm going to be hitting them with a couple of Flocks of Dooms, and we're also throwing in our reserve spearmen, trying to protect our ranged units as much as possible. You can see here that we managed to catch these zombie pirate deckhands with those reserve spearmen, and now we're just shooting up the deckhand mobs. In the back, we have managed to destroy most of the deck gunners with the Hammer of Witches and the grenade launchers. But again, like, I think we just charged in. We may have taken this amount of damage on our Outriders, but they would have been dead a long time ago. So that is definitely a mistake on my part. But again, there we go. Volkmar the Grim and the Amber Wizard. I don't think he does no, he doesn't do magical damage to melee. But anyway, they're both going to be focusing on the Syrenes. Volkmar the Grim in this situation is going to do pretty well against the Syrenes with this magical damage. Over here we have another summoned zombie pirate deckhand mob, which is going to actually get into our Hammer of Witches. I've kind of run out of a lot of units in the back. You see that we're trying to chase the units down with our swordsman, who I believe dealt with another zombie gunnery, or zombie pirate deckhand mob. Their names are so dang long. Meanwhile, in the middle, these Sigmar Sons are going to hold it to the bitter end, but they will eventually succumb to the power of the double depth guard that are on them, even though one is taking a lot of damage. I believe that was the one that was shot up by our silver bullets, who are back here being targeted by the Shade Wraith gunners. I think at this point the Hammer of Witches is going to go offline, so we're not going to be focusing down the Shade Wraiths. I think I rush our Outriders into them to finish them off, I believe. We have a swordsman coming back there and over here, which we'll be throwing into the vampires here very soon. Another Flock of Doom going down on here on the Depth Guard and the, I believe there's a pirate, yeah, there's a pirate unit in there as well. Count Noctis is going to try to reinforce this summon zombie pirate deckhand mob to try and shut down the Hammer of the Witches. I probably should have just either moved them back or dropped the siege engines and then moved them back. There's another mistake on my part there. We're still doing okay on the left flank. On the right flank, we have now at this point destroyed the Syrenes with the help of Volkmar the Grim, and I believe maybe another Flock of Doom. Another swordsman who's been duking out with another zombie pirate is finally going to win that fight. We have Depth Guard now going across the center into this flank over here. I think I'm going to be pulling Volkmar and the Amber Wizard now that the Syrenes are dead. I think I pulled them over here more towards the center to try and help support our 2 great cannons that are still operational. And you're going to notice the crabs. Like, you can see there's one dead crab up here. They did not really get to do much. The enemy, I forgot to mention this, they had them sitting back here, and they just were using their ranged attacks, which is not really what you want to do with the gunnery mob. I know they have guns in their back, but what you want to do is you always want to throw them into melee, and the guns would just kind of fire as they're in melee. But the enemy kind of kept them in the back a little bit, and so it allowed me more time to shoot them with the great cannons, and they didn't really get to do too much. They were just kind of destroyed by the great cannons, who are now focusing on the Depth Guard, I believe. Yes, so they're focusing split fire, one on here. Actually, I think both are going on this Depth Guard. This silver bullets is going to be shooting, I believe, into this Depth Guard over there, because those are our biggest threats right now. By far. You can see that I'm kind of just leaving Count Noctis alone. I don't really have any good duelists to fight him. And at this point, I should have summoned a Manticore because I still have 2 charges of them. But the thing is, I've been focusing on just casting Flock of Doom whenever it's off cooldown, and I just have not been casting I was going to say Minotaur, Manticore. I should have at this point. That is another mistake I've had. I should have cast at least one by now to try and help hold the line, because our lines are breaking. We don't have many reserves left. You can see that this summon Pirate Decade Mob is into this Great Cannon. I'm just kind of using this as time to kill them down with the crossbowmen back here. Again, our Silver Bullets have just been targeting the Depth Guard because they're one of our biggest threats. Going to try and stop this summon with Warhammer the Grim. The Amber Wizard is over here helping out with another summon unit. So many summons from the Vampire Coast this game. To be expected, especially with Count Noctilus. Over here, these Death Guard are kind of chewing through the swordsmen. They will be chewing through the spearmen, I believe, as well, for the most part. Grenades did help to finish off these, I think, but in any case, they're now up here trying to get into these Death Guard. There's our first Manticore summon. Should have summoned this a long time ago, but we're going to be throwing them into the Depth Guard. We're running our crossbowmen in interference to the Depth Guard because I'd rather lose them than the Silver Bullets, so we're trying to pin the Depth Guard in place, get more time for the Silver Bullets to shoot, and the Manticore's going to go over there as well, and Swordsmen are rear charging the Depth Guard as well. Count Noctilus has just been kind of sitting in the middle, dealing with Swordsmen and Spearmen maybe, but for the most part just Swordsmen, so that is fine with me. I'm just leaving him alone, trying to isolate and destroy the rest of his army because I don't really have any duelists on the field that can kill him. We can try and snipe him with the Silver Bullets, but he's kind of been embedded in the middle of all of my units, so it's going to be really hard to shoot him, so we're just kind of leaving him alone and using the Silver Bullets to shoot other targets. You can see we now cleared up that Depth Guard. We are now working on the only other Depth Guard remaining. We have cleared out 2 of them. The only thing left is now Count Noctilus and this Depth Guard. The crossbowmen were being chased for a little bit, but now you can see that they changed targeting, allowing my crossbows to now stop and return fire on their backside. Over here, we're dealing with one of the summon with the leadership of the Amber Wizard and Volkmar the Grim. And yeah, things are kind of not looking great for the forces of the Vampire Coast. We just had so many units for them to chew through. Even though they had 3 units that were really good at it, and they did a lot of damage, we had, what, 10? I believe 10 infantry units. There goes our second summon, Manticore. 10 infantry units to throw at them to stall them, to allow time for our Great Cannons to do a lot of work, which they did. And more importantly, also our Silver Bullets to snipe out a lot of the Depth Guard hit points. The grenade launchers went out here and just kind of just mopped these guys up. Could have done them a lot faster. And again, another misplay here was not summoning a Manticore sooner. I summoned them towards the end of the fight when it was kind of already decided. I really should have summoned them a lot sooner. I don't know why I didn't. I was just so focused on just casting Flocks of Doom instead. But yeah, that is going to be the battle, everybody. We're going to stick the 2 summons on Count Noctilus, but they are already just kind of deteriorating, and that's going to be the end of Noctilus. So that is a GG to Leviathan. I did focus fire down Count Noctilus when he was approaching the army in the beginning with our crossbows, and I believe I maybe shot a couple rounds with the Silver Bullets, but then he got into the infantry, and since he's on such a small target, he's not on his mount. When he is, you know, fighting our swordsmen, he is basically getting surrounded by swordsmen, so at that point, the line of sight blocking, especially for our guns, is pretty much 100%, so you can't really shoot him, so I didn't really have any option. He was buried in troops, so I couldn't really target him. The crossbows could still kind of fire because they have the arc fire, but they don't do armor piercing damage, at least not a lot, so I thought it was like, I think we should utilize them to try and snipe out all of these summons and the other zombie pirate decade mobs, which there are a ton. But we had Volkmar the Grim help shut down those sirens with a couple casts of the Flock of Doom from the Amber Wizard, so we were able to shut them down pretty quickly. Again, the grenade launchers went in the back. Not really their ideal target. Grenade launchers are supposed to shoot a bunch of like clumped up zombies, but they were available, and the only mobile unit I had to get in the back to try and shut down these deck gunners, which were a real threat. So I had to utilize them for that. They did pretty good work there, but again, just charge them in. I think you'll get the work done faster, even though they are pretty brittle, but not as brittle as the deck gunners are. And again, unfortunately for the enemy there, those 2 rotting Prometheans were basically just a waste of money. They just sat back there. They got shot up to hell just on the approach to our army. They were already at like half or health or lower. And then they kind of just sat there and just shot their cannons instead of going into melee. And so our great cannons just kind of had a field day on those poor crabs. But anyway, good game again to Leviathan. Hope you enjoyed some gunnery. Actually, we took the Faith and Gunpowder. What is it? Faith, Gunpowder, Magic? Magic, Gunpowder, Faith. Anyway, the 3 pillars of the Empire. We had them all here. That was pretty cool. Anyway, let's go watch a cinematic view. Those deck gunners still have a really cool attack. It just looks sweet. Just shooting like ethereal water across the battlefield. We got a crab down. Here, we got a crab down. believe they're firing into the death guard behind the zombies, not the actual zombies. My crossbows, I think, are firing at the zombies, though. They do really good at killing chaff like this. These guys just get shot up. You can see that the enemy was microing Count Noctis right there with all of his summons, and then they remember the Death Guard. Death Guard, I think, charge you in a moment. Oh, hey, someone died to one of the little shotguns. Yeah, you can see here, like, the Promethean is just shooting, which is not really, like, they're not an actual, like, gun unit. I know they have guns, but that's not what they really do. Invoke Maw the Grim! Jesus, he swings, they die. I guess our cannons are blocked by something. They're not even firing right now. Alright, Spearman, prepare to die. Yep. I threw their lives away to protect our crossbows and gunners. You know, the important units. Outrider is not really meant for a higher armor target like the Death Guard, but hey, it's what's left. At least the grenade launchers aren't. Obviously, the normal Outriders with guns are meant for anti-armor. Good old count. Ooh. Farewell, Count. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time. Take care.